What's up, brothers? Here we are today, Saturday. Wild card weekend. Let's get these playoff games going right now. Big day, big football for all you fans. Game 1, Raiders in Cincinnati. Game 2 tonight, and the primetime main event up in the frozen Buffalo, where the game time temperature is expected to be 0. The Buffalo Bills host Belichick and the Patriots on a frozen turf. What's we, homie? The entertainer talking drugs. What's up, Wales? Let's get it. Let's talk some playoff football. Let's discuss the New York Giants' bright future. There's a lot of rumors out there, and every single one of them sounds like a great option. Let's go get it today. Let's light the fire on this cold day in the Northeast. Big Slay and the Philadelphia Eagles tomorrow. I know Slay's all excited. You better be wearing that green jersey today. I'm going to talk a little, then I'm going to take some calls. Big man Bobby, live home of the Philadelphia Eagles as they host they go down to Tampa for a monster playoff game. Who would have thought the Eagles would be in the playoffs this year? But hey, that's why the world turns and anything can happen on any given day. In a league where they play for pay, the National Football League, a sport we all live and die for. There's only so many Sundays in a lifetime that we can enjoy this. And today we got games on Saturday. Wait for tonight's game. The afternoon game is good, but tonight's game's a special one. Put a little playoff music in there, get us going. I know I got Bobby hyped right now. I'm waiting for a few more guys to come in, guys. There's some questions. I'll try to answer them. I'll bring people on a little later. I'm going to do a little talking in the beginning. You know, that's how I do it.
Experience that grabs you. You ever get bad text?
It is what it is, man.
How can I take care of this as fast as possible? With Let's Get Check, it's easy.
I see you, Luan Green One. Corey, got you guys in the back. Playoff edition of football. Let's talk some playoff football. We could talk New York Giants. Giants have big directions. Actually, what's up, Nikki? I wanted to read an article before I let guys on that I just got from a friend, Buko. There's an article out there that just broke. All right, it's sources say Deshaun Watson has expressed a strong desire internally to play for the New York Giants. He would like to join Brian Flores. He could also reestablish his brand in the league in a top market around New York. So there you go. That's a report from Jordan Scholz. I don't know how true it is. Deshaun Watson's now starting to express some desire to be a New York Football Giant. We'll see. There's many places he could go. There's things I guess he's got to solve first with his case before he probably can end up anywhere. But you know what? We'll see what happens. I'm going to bring some guys on. Bring on Corey and Lou. How you doing, Corey? How's everything?
Yo, what's going on, Miz? How you doing?
All right, what's going on?
Freezing, man. It's cold. We're gonna get snow down here tonight.
Yeah, I heard you guys are supposed to get hit. It's freezing here too. We're on the border of icy mix. They're saying a couple of miles, a 10-mile difference could be the difference of 2 feet, and like just the mix.
Yeah, they're saying North Carolina, we're supposed to get like 3 to 5 inches of ice on top of it, so it should be fun.
I got Lou, New York City. I'm just gonna bring him on for a second, Corey. I don't want to keep him holding because I know he's not home. He's in Manhattan.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
Lou,
yeah.
What's
Hey,
good? What's good? What's
what you
good?
doing? Where are you? He's in Manhattan now. This guy's everywhere.
nice
He got the
hat.
Nick Frick.
I'm a
Nice.
New York prick.
Yeah, what you doing? You staying inside? It's cold today, man.
Nah, I'm about to go shopping, grab my kids some outfits from up here.
What's going
There you
on,
go.
Adam? How's everything? Yeah, I was gonna do a show today with Corey a little bit. Then I was gonna let people hop in and out. What's up, Jeff? What's up, Nick?
Well, I was just
Osama
stopping in
bin.
to support, you know what I'm saying? I'm about to go eat with the family, spend some
There you
time
go.
with the family, you know what I'm saying, and grab a few items for the kids. But yeah, I just wanted to stop in and, you know, support and you know, playoff weekend, baby.
Playoff weekend. Yep. Yeah, I was out a little this morning, but it's freezing.
Yeah, it's cold.
And the wifey's not feeling well also, like I told her. I don't know. So I'll run out to get her some medicine too. She don't want to go. I'm not taking her to no hospital with what's going on, so I'll just keep her home.
So what's the GM talk? I know Deshaun Watson said something about wanting to be here, but what's the GM convo like?
All right, there's a couple of different combos out there, you know. So I mean, there's a couple of good ones.
If you look under your screen,
There's
if
Joe
you look-
Schoen from Buffalo. What's up?
if you look
Lou?
right under your screen, you'll see a little square with two heads side by side. Click that.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Uh-oh. I heard Sean had a good interview. He would probably bring Dobbin. I did a lot of reading last night. I really maybe fallen in love with Cole and Enemy from Bieniemy from Kansas City, man. They got a lot of years together. And this guy Cole is a real O-line scout. So he brought in 4 new starters, 3 drafted in the last draft for Kansas City. 4 new starters this year. A brand new O-line ranked 6th in the NFL. That's pretty damn good. They say
yeah.
this guy's an O-line guru, Cole. And Bieniemy's been waiting a long time. I think it's his turn. So you have a couple, and now the guy Ortiz from Baltimore is a big name on the Giants board
Or Hortiz.
also. So I don't know where they're gonna go. We're gonna see.
I
would
still
love to
can't
have
believe
Flores as
that
the head coach here.
I still can't believe the betting favorite to be the Giants head coach is Brian Dabble and Doug Peterson.
It better not be Doug Peterson. I swear
There's
to God.
Doug Peterson, man. That's just asking for trouble.
No, Peter. I think they make up these things. I don't think the Giants would ever hire Peterson. So
I think they had enough problems going NFC East last time bringing Garrett in as offensive coordinator. So forget that. They're going completely different, man. I got a feeling about this one. They're
They
going
need
completely
to.
outside the family. They got to change the whole. They got to change everything. Forget the culture. They got to start from scratch with everything. They have to.
But
Yeah,
all right, bro,
I
I'm about to
think,
pop off. I got to get ready. I just wanted to come in and say what was up and
all right, I'm
support.
gonna text you later.
All right, bro.
All right, enjoy with your family.
All right, brother. Thank you. All right, Corey.
Take it easy.
Yeah, Corey. So yeah, I definitely do not want Peterson. I don't think any fan in this fan base wants that guy. He's
It
a
looks
face
like
of the Eagles.
the
And he
betting
did a screw
favorites
job
here.
last year.
The
Go ahead.
betting favorites here are Brian Dabble, Doug Peterson, Bieniemy is 6-1, Harbaugh, which I would like, is 7-1, and Byron Leftwich is 7-1. I'm not in love with any of those except
No.
for Harbaugh. I would take, but they're gonna have to give up an arm and a leg to get Harbaugh, and I don't think you want to do that.
I don't know. I heard that he might stay in Michigan. They said
That's what I heard too. I mean, from what I heard Harbaugh's available, but it would take a dream offer, money wise, control wise, everything to get him anywhere he goes. And the Giants, they're not going to give up a whole. They're not going to give up a whole thing like that. So,
right. I definitely don't want another young nobody. I definitely don't want no Leftwich.
but who we got for veterans out there that could actually come in and do actually? I mean, obviously you can't bring a 25-year veteran in. They're not going to take that. I mean, but who could you bring in who's been a head coach? Well, other than Brian Flores' son, I mean, other than Brian Flores, who do you think makes sense for us? Because no more rookie head coaches, man. None. We can't have it.
You see, I look at a guy like if you wanted to bring the Kansas City tantrum here with
Look, you're
Cole as a
privileged.
GM and Bieniemy as a head. I don't have a problem with Bieniemy because he's
That I
not
could
really
deal with
like,
because
to me,
I could deal with that because they come as a tandem. They've
Right.
been a pair. They've been together for years. They're on the same page. I get that.
right. And I believe Bieniemy deserves his opportunity already, but we'd be going with a different direction than the Giants have in their history, which I think would be a good thing right now. I think the Giants are trying to aim for something like that.
Yeah,
But I got
think
a
so,
feeling
too.
that the Giants are in love with Joe Schoen from Buffalo.
Schoen looks good, man. I mean, he's done. Look at what he's done just in the past 3 years. Just look at that. I mean,
What's up, Adam?
oh, who let Adam in?
Hello, fellas. How you doing?
What's
It's
going
Joe
on, man?
Shane, and I'm not a fan of the package deals. I want to make sure.
Adam, what do you think? Yes, give us Corey.
I just want. Hey, Corey, how you doing?
What's up, man?
I just want to make sure that we don't get a package deal. You know, I don't necessarily need Joe Shane and then to be Brian Daboll. Let him interview as many candidates as we can to get the right fit guy. Don't just bring somebody in because
I
he's
agree.
working with you. You know what I mean?
I mean, Daboll, whatever. He's shown a lot of promise, man. But he's young, man. He's got no head coaching experience. That's the problem. And I don't want to have another guy learning on the job. I mean, I understand. You said it's Shane, not Sean.
Right.
I get that, but
Can we afford that though? Can we afford a new guy to be walking the sidelines after
I mean,
what
we've had 3 straight rookie head coaches.
Yeah, not again. Right.
Yeah.
Well, Pat Shermer he was a coach for the Browns.
Oh, Shermer, please. The Browns don't count. Up until recently, the Browns haven't even been a major league team. I mean, they've been arena league footballs that they've been up until recently.
But notice they've been offensive too. Offensive in McAdoo, offensive in Shermer, and then you had Joe Judge who it was just offensive. His whole play calling was offensive.
Yep. I think you've got to go back. If you're going to go head coach, I think you go defense and you bring in a top-notch offensive coordinator.
What do you think of Dan Quinn?
Oh. Guy's got the creds. He's got the pedigree, but man, I hate going back to that wheelhouse, bringing Dan Quinn in. I mean, is it a retread? That's the way I look at it.
What about the I'm reading a lot today about Ortiz from Baltimore. What's up, Bucco? Come on, talk some draft picks.
Who from Baltimore?
Horowitz, I think his name is Ortiz.
Oh, Horowitz. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he was in there. He was in there today for the interview, I think, right?
Yeah, and I mean they like him. The Giants really like what the Ravens are doing, so I can see that happening. Him and Joe Shane are my top 2. You know, I was hoping they would bring in Scott Pioli, but I guess he's not in there.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
I think he's a little older, may not be what they're looking for. But I just need a guy who's going to work well with somebody. Brian Flores, I keep bringing up, because I feel like he's got a Tom Coughlin vibe for me. You know, going down to Florida team, doing a little success down there, and then coming up to a New York team and making them good. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I see.
Yeah.
You know, it's pretty sad. I'm just reading this here. You know, only 3 players attended the gathering that Joe Judge had at his house the other night when he got fired.
No, that says something, man.
Daniel Jones, Logan Ryan, and David Sills. I mean, what does that tell you right there?
Yeah, David Sills goes anywhere Daniel Jones goes, man.
I know they're like they're 2 peas in a pod, man. They're a package deal, but it's
3 players. Any coaches showed up, or because I know he had some.
Most of the assistants were there, is what I heard. Most of the assistants were there. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm not even focused on head coach right now. I want to get the GM in place. Then once we get the GM in place, we'll have an idea of who the head coach is going to be.
I agree with you there, but the problem that I have with that is that even Mara said no package deal. So I don't want Shane to be like, well, you know, I'm going to bring in Brian Daboll. Let Brian Daboll interview with a couple other teams, see what happens.
With Mara, with Tish, everybody else. Let's see what's going to happen. What does he have in mind? I mean, if he comes in and he interviews with 3 or 4 of the guys and he hits a home run, okay, fine. I can live with it. But you're right. I don't want the package deals coming in place because then they're not doing the whole due process of checking everybody out there that's out there. I mean, Flores, New Yorkers, from what I hear, New York is the top of his list because he's a New Yorker. He's a Brooklyn guy, you know? So I'm sure he wants to come back home, but
man, what I love that guy, Corey. I really want him over anybody, man, because I just think that guy just lights
Why
some
did see,
fire
here's the
under
question
the
I
skin.
got for you. Why did he get let go? Why?
The whole Tua Watson thing.
I believe the owner kind
I
of
think
did this one. I think he rubbed
you
elbows
know.
with the management wrong, and I think they butted heads, and of course, in certain instances, that's never good. But you can see
No,
on
I
the
know.
field, that the team plays for him. You can see
Oh
that what
yeah.
8-1 down the stretch. I mean, I can't knock those results. You know,
On top of that, doing it with Tua and a backup. I mean, Tua. Let's put it point blank. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Tua, as far as pure skill. Now, if he can do that with Tua, what can he do with? But he also did build a decent run game, clutch receivers, clutch defense, and a pretty damn good offensive line. I would say they're middle of the road. They're not great, but they're middle of the road. They got some good young players on there. I mean, that's the thing. They're kind of like Buffalo. Once New England got out of the way, Buffalo took over. Miami has come on pretty good the past couple of years. They're building something down there. Um, but even the Jets got some nice young players. I still think they're 3 years off from being competitive every year if they put the right pieces in place. I mean, the AFC East is going to be kind of like the old NFC East, where they're all going to pick each other off. I think in about 3 years, because they could all be really good at the very least 500. I mean, what we got to worry about now is just I want to approach 500. That's what before I can sit there and say well, I'm happy. I mean, if they approach 500, I could say, you know what? I mean, to me, 4 wins this year. I mean, honestly, I can't count on more than 5 or 6 next year. To me, if they can go, even if they struggle to begin with, I can live with it. Finish strong. Go 500 your last 8 games. Go 5-3 your last 8. Show us something.
well,
Um,
I think Corey, what I'm looking at is the adversity that they had and how they overcame it. Right.
oh yeah,
I'm not necessarily winning because Joe Judge went 5-3 down the stretch. It didn't
yep.
translate. Didn't translate the next year. I want to know when the shit hits the fan, how he's going to
How are they
pull
going to
the team
respond?
up. Yes, pull the team up.
Oh,
And
I agree.
and the reason I like the 8-1 record, but it's more like every week was a playoff game for them. Okay,
Yeah,
every week,
yeah.
they had to be built up to win, and those are the type of things you look for because he could have went 5-3 down the stretch, got fired, and we're kind of like, oh well, 8-1 means every game was a playoff game, and every game they had to overcome something.
I mean, I just want to see how the team responds to me. This double-digit losses every single week. I mean,
Yeah,
can they at least stick and be competitive? I mean, I tell you right now, who's the Lions won what 3 games this year and tied 1, and I have actually high hopes for them next year because I think they lost 9 of their games by less than 4 points. They were competitive in most of their games. They only got blown a handful of times this year. That is a team that, as a fighting team, they've got a really nice, really young offensive line. We've got to get this year's draft right. There's no more. I mean, it's a lot of pressure to put on a new GM, but after the shit show we've had for the past 5 years, something's got to change. They've got to start building from the ground up. I don't want to hear about hog mollies. I don't want to hear. Just pick the right people for the needs you have. We know the biggest needs for us are line on both sides, linebacker as well. I mean, and I think since Judge is out, I mean, does Daniel Jones join the pile? I mean, I think it's 50-50. He's here next year. He might. Some tells me he won't be. I think Shepard's gone. Barkley they'll keep on a last year's contract, franchise him if he does okay. I mean, you could be looking at. I mean, we could be looking at some serious overhauling in the next 16 months.
man, they got to do it. They got to do it wisely because you don't want to take too many hits. Because if they listen, if they live through this coming season with not much money, but they just get through it, they could release a lot of guys after the season, or maybe
Yeah.
trade a few if they can get some trades. And then the following year, 23, we would be in a really good cap situation.
The only guy that makes sense to let go this year with 1 year left on his deal is Sterling Shepard, because if they cut him this year, they're going to save $4.5 million, and if they wait till June 1st, I believe they save $8 with only a $3 million cap hit. So it's actually not, but it actually makes sense. And he's been injury prone. I like Sterling Shepard. He's a good player, man, but he's been so hurt lately. I think you just got to bring somebody, draft a young guy. You've got Galladay, you've got Tony. Tony, it's put up or shut up time. Stop with the rap career. Stop with the mouthing off on Twitter. Just do what you got to do. Focus on football. Stop being a knucklehead like you've been all through college and now the first year. They've got guys who have talent. It's time for Ingram to show up again. He's not going. At least this year, Ingram didn't piss me off because he was a no-show this year. Last year, he just dropped everything in the world.
Hey, the thing is, Ingram's a free agent, Corey.
He's a free agent now. Or he's a free agent after this year.
Right now.
Oh, is he? Oh, gone. Bye.
Yeah, I think Ingram's probably gone.
Let's see. Who are the free agents on the Giants that we know?
There's probably some teams that will grab him, but time
Oh,
for Giants to
somebody
move
will.
on. And they could draft a physical tight end in the middle rounds here in this draft. They could get one. So, what's up, Ash? Yeah, so I think we may get a tight end in the draft. I think it's time to move on from Ingram. Like you said, there's going to have to be some changes. You're getting a new regime, and you also kind of got to wipe out, I'd say, what's the right word? Somebody infection on this team that's been here for years and gotten used to losing. You got to wipe it out.
Okay, so we got Ingram as a free agent, Will Hernandez, Jabril Peppers, Lorenzo Carter, Billy Price, Nate Solder, gone. Matt Skura, gone. I liked Austin Johnson this year. He wasn't good, but he wasn't bad either. He didn't kill him. Danny Shelton, gone. Did nothing this year. John Ross, I like what he did this year. Wasn't great, but he was a clutch receiver when he had to be. I'd say bring him out for a small deal.
Can bring Ross back.
Yeah. Elijah Penny, I like bringing him back for a small deal. Ragland, gone. Jalen Smith, gone.
Oh, yeah. You might trade Bradbury if you find a partner
Yep, I could see that.
because of the money reasons.
They've got 4 exclusive rights restricted free agents: Jaron Williams, Jake Fromm, Kyle Murphy, and J.R. Reed. And 3
we got to
restricted free
bring
agents.
Buko for sure. He never called.
Colin
Buko!
Gillespie, Steven Parker, and Joshua Kalu.
I'm here.
Corey, this is Buko. You've seen him in the chat.
Oh, yeah. What's up, Booker? How you been, man?
What's
We
up,
live in the
Corey?
gym
Nice to
together.
meet you.
This
Well,
guy
nice to
here
see
is
you.
a
I
brilliant guy when it comes to these drafts and these college plays. He knows his stuff. GMs too. I give him a hard time, but I take his shit and then I pass it along. So, I think we're kind of stuck with one more year with Adoree and Galladay, I think.
Yep.
Because $21 million Galladay's
Too much. They overpaid.
making this year, so I don't think he's going to be able to go anywhere. But I do think that if we built the line, he could be a factor. I just think this year was just a horrible. The offense was just historically bad. What's up, Chris?
What are your thoughts on this year's draft for quarterbacks? Is there anybody even worth taking in your mind? Or do we bring in a free agent stopgap until the following year?
Well, I don't.
Oh, I think we lost Buko.
I think you got to bring somebody in for Daniel Jones to compete with. You can't let him sit there and be scholarshiped and say, yep, you're the starting quarterback. We got to make him earn it, because that's the only way we're going to find out if this guy is the real deal. If he looks over his shoulder, knowing that a guy behind him could take his job, the cream rises to the top, as they say, right? So we'll find out if he's the guy that we want or if he's just another guy that, is going to be a backup around the league at some point.
Yeah, I think you bring in a guy like a Teddy Bridgewater type, something like that. I've seen Darnold's name tossed around. I've seen.
I think the perfect free agent would be Marcus Mariota, just because he's young enough.
I've heard that too. I like that.
Yeah,
he's
young enough to still be the answer, because he wasn't terrible in Tennessee. He just didn't stay healthy, but he's young enough to still be the answer. But he's also good enough to push Daniel Jones.
He's got great accuracy when he's on. I mean, yeah, he makes some mistakes, but I mean, I remember watching him in college. Man, the guy just had some.
I loved Mariota coming out in college. I thought he was great, but But he played last year for the Raiders because Carr was out, and he played really well in that.
Played
game,
well,
so.
yeah.
What about the guy from the Baltimore Ravens, like you were saying, Buko? If they do go after that guy for general manager.
See, I don't like. See, as far as Joe Shane goes, the rumor is Brian Dable is going to be his top choice, and unless of course Dable also Miami supposedly wants Brian Dable also because he was the offensive coordinator for Alabama when they had Tua. So the fact.
Got some bad connections all around today.
Yeah.
It's the weather.
You're in and out. Buko, you're in and out.
I'm hoping they cast a wider net than that. That's just me.
Oh, I do too.
Because I can't just bring in a guy and then be like, okay, no head coaching experience. You have no GM experience, like full GM experience. So 2 inexperienced guys doing the dance. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I see here Ash is saying get Malik Willis. I think Malik Willis, I think you're right, probably has the highest roof of any player this year, quarterback. The most ready, it's got to be Kenny Pickett or Matt Corral. But I don't know any of these guys really do it for me. I mean,
He wants the link.
I don't know, man. It really just doesn't work for me. It's probably. Tell you what, though, we couldn't get a better year for needs. Offensive line, I think it's probably the best offensive line class we've had in 20 years. I can't wait for this.
Yeah, the offensive line. This is really it's right there for us, man. We can't. We are not going to screw this up. I hope so. Buko wants back in. I think Ash wants to come in and
I love my connection.
back up his reasoning behind Malik Willis. So Ash, if you call in, you bring us your reasons why.
Yeah, and I got to pop off in a few anyway, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Right. Where's Logan today? He's out.
I mean, it's
I'm not sure.
we got to wait till the hype machine goes because none of us are looking at quarterbacks. But then when Daniel Jeremiah and Todd McShay and Mel Kiper start to do their mock drafts and moving players up and down boards, that's when you'll really start to see where everyone feels about these quarterbacks.
I mean, there's already rumors that the Panthers love Kenny Pickett, and
Yep.
actually Matt Rule actually recruited him in college. So, and their GM literally had a press conference the other day, and he was brought up in the conversation talking about him, basically how he checks the boxes, but it's still early. So,
Yeah, I still get all the. I live in Chapel Hill. I get all the Carolina sports radio down here. Kenny Pickett is the name you see everywhere down here. I mean, it probably would have been Sam Howell if he had had halfway decent year in UNC, but he just completely flubbed it. He'll probably be a good second, third round pickup this year, though.
And that's the problem, though. Like everyone says, "Oh, wait for a quarterback for 2023," but it's like, how many years have we seen like, "Oh, this guy's going to be the first overall pick," and then the following year he has a terrible year in college, and he doesn't even get drafted until like the third round.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like sometimes when you're in position to take a quarterback without having to trade up draft picks, I don't know. Sometimes it's better off going that way, especially because it's like maybe the quarterbacks of most fans don't think these quarterbacks are great, but the fact that the Giants potentially could have their choice of quarterback because I don't think anyone else is taking quarterback before them, they would get basically the first choice of any of these quarterbacks
Instead of taking, like
and instead of next year where they may be like getting the third quarterback in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, plus, having the 5 and the 8, it's actually a nice slot to be in. I mean, to me, there's not a guy that we have as a need. I mean, heck, you could easily take the 5 and the 8 and trade up to the 1 or the 2, but there's nobody 1 or 2 that I want that high. Our need
Honestly,
is perfect where we're at.
If you guys can get Matt Corral in the second round, I would be all for that, to be honest. I actually
I like that. I like that. He's a good player.
Yeah. And if he could fall to the second round, I think it's worth a gamble in the second round on him.
Man, I can't see this guy.
All right, guys. I got a hot man. Miz, thanks for having me, man. I'll try and pop on a little bit, but I'll be here off and on all day.
What's up, Ash?
I'll see you later, guys.
All right, cool.
Yo, what's going on? Listen, man. Hold on, do I sound all right? I got my headphones on.
All right, I know you want Malik Willis.
I'm not going to say I wanted him, but, well, I'm not going to say like I feel like we need to have him. But if we're at 7, if we bring in somebody like as GM, like Hortitz or Adam Poles or Ryan Poles forgot his first name. And somebody who has a proven track record of finding good talent in the late rounds. And if you get Evan Neal at 5, and then you're stuck at 7 between Linderbaum and a quarterback, and this new regime wants to take a quarterback, I'd be fine with passing on Linderbaum. Not gonna lie, because I know Linderbaum is this great offensive lineman, but then again, his position is center. So you could go from getting a great center to a good center in round 3, or a center that's capable of starting and being decent and good in round 3 and 4 or 5. We have 2/3, 1/4, and like 2/5, I believe.
Slay.
But my thing about Malik Willis is that to me, he has the highest ceiling because this dude, he's gonna bring a lot to this offense. So if you bring in an offensive-minded coach like Brian Dable from Buffalo, who helped develop Josh Allen, who was also a big arm quarterback that had problems, a big arm mobile quarterback that had problems with his mechanics, with footwork and accuracy. I could see why or how we could take Malik Willis at 7. Not gonna lie. And I agree with Buko when he says that waiting for a quarter, like there's 2 things that there's 2 ways it could go. Next year, the Giants win about 7 games, 8 games, and you're not in the range to take a quarterback. Because if the quarterback class is as good as people are saying, these quarterbacks are going to go early. And you're going to have a lot of competition and trying to trade up for a quarterback if you were to do that. Or a quarterback like Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. I mean, we saw Bryce Young not really perform that great in the national championship game, even though he did have his receivers out. But let's say they have like a second-year slump, or they get injured or something, kind of like how Matt Corral did this year, then you're risking too much to me by waiting. I'm always a believer. I know we felt this way about Daniel Jones and how that turned out, but if you feel like you have your guy, then take him. Take him.
Yeah, I think the Giants' schedule next year is pretty easy, so I don't think you guys would even be in contention to even get the top pick to even take Bryce Love if he was to come out. And it's everyone wants to talk about Malik Willis. It's like, he's from Liberty. But people don't realize that. When they evaluate these quarterbacks, yeah, he's from Liberty. He's not playing the best competition. But he also doesn't have the best competition on his team either. Who else from Liberty is getting drafted at this point?
Nobody.
Probably nobody.
We bring that up about Daniel. I didn't mean to cut you off, Buka.
No, go ahead.
No,
I'm just saying because Josh Allen was the same thing for Wyoming, and there's been plenty of quarterbacks. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger went to Miami of Ohio, whatever it's called, Ohio. It's like sometimes the smaller school quarterbacks wind up playing better.
In 2018, there was rumors and there was topics being brought up about taking Josh Allen at 2 instead of Saquon. Before the draft, I'm talking about this before the draft, they were calling Josh Allen at the time Wentz 2.0 because the season before this draft, that's when Wentz had that MVP season, but he got hurt and the Eagles won a Super Bowl. They were calling Josh Allen Wentz 2.0. I believe that because that's what I heard. And people were like, "No, you don't need to take him. He's not worth the second pick in the draft." Right? That's my thing when I'm getting at. I know he's from Liberty, and we bring it up about Daniel Jones as well. Daniel Jones, and especially Carson Wentz last year, he was playing hero ball, and that's the type of thing that Malik Willis is doing now. So when you have that type of talent that Malik Willis has, you're gonna play hero ball because you think you're this athletic, freak of nature. You think you could do it by yourself. You think you could create a way for your team to get back in the game when really you just make more mistakes. That's a lot of stuff to go into that. And my thing about Willis is that right now he's very raw. He's a very raw quarterback. But if you're looking to just let Daniel Jones play out his 4th year, sit Willis for literally at least 8 games. Sit him for at
Or
least
you can
8
bring
games.
packages in for him, run the Wildcat, give him a couple plays,
Exactly. Like
usher him in slowly as
Right.
you use Daniel Jones, right? I mean,
like
people
how
forget
they did,
that
like how the Eagles did with
Jalen Hurts.
with Jalen Hurts and Wentz. Listen, we are literally the Eagles last year. We are literally the
Right.
Eagles. Our coach was fine. The Eagles, Doug Peterson, his job was saved until he did that tanking thing where he sat Jalen where he sat Jalen Hurts, right?
Right.
Joe Judge's job was safe until he went on that 11-minute rant and he just had a fallout, right? So like when Wentz, with Wentz, I could kind of see Wentz or Daniel Jones in that Wentz role that Wentz was in last year, right? And how they kind of feature Jalen Hurts in some plays like that, and really
I'm just
Willis
more
is
worried about
based,
Daniel Jones' durability. The fact that he gets
yeah.
injured every season, we need a viable backup to do it. Why not have Malik Willis be your backup, and they both compete for the job?
And
I
listen,
mean, even if you
literally,
wanted to draft
go
Malik
ahead.
Willis, and even if you wanted to draft Malik Willis, and say you still wanted to trade Daniel Jones, you could trade Daniel Jones and bring in like a stopgap, like a Mariota. And I know people are going to give you crap for this one, but I mean, you could bring in Cam Newton because for 1 year, and just until Malik Willis just gets under,
No.
or Mariota or someone like that. Just you don't have to
Nah.
even keep Daniel Jones.
I mean, I get that too, but I would rather just have Daniel
No,
Jones
no.
right now. I would rather have Daniel Jones, and then if we
No
would
Cam
draft
Newton.
Malik,
You hear me?
Is the Giants suck.
no matter if because then I feel like you would have to trade for Marcus Mariota, I believe, right? I think you would have to trade for Mariota.
Is he? Did he? He
I don't
redid
think
his
he's a-
contract. No, I know he redid his contract before the year, so I don't know if he is. He
Yeah, I don't
if
think
he's
he's
a
a
free agent
free
or not.
agent.
He
I
actually
don't
might
think
be a free agent. I'm not 100% certain.
Well, don't hold me to this because I don't know for sure, but I think you would have to trade for him. But I would rather just have Daniel Jones for just have him starting in the year and just keep Malik Willis on the bench to me. So, but my thing is with the Giants, if you bring in a general manager like Ryan Poles, Joe Shane, the dude from Baltimore, the dude from San Francisco. I'm not taking. I know a lot of people want to They look at Linderbaum and they see comparisons to Quentin Nelson and they just get starstruck. But I'm not taking Linderbaum at 7. I'm sorry.
I would.
I mean, the one thing. I mean, what's the one thing that gives fans hope when you think about it? Like, say, a young quarterback. You could be terrible next year, but if you have a young quarterback on your team, it gives the fans hope, and they understand that's the reason they lost. That's why they were losing games at a rookie quarterback. So I could see them taking a quarterback also. Kind of gives the fan base some hope. But
I would
I don't know.
only take Linderbaum if there wasn't another player of that caliber that Linderbaum is at his position not there. To be honest, if I know a lot of people are gonna they're gonna come at me for that, but if Kyle Hamilton is there at 7, I'm taking him over Linderbaum.
I mean, you could also take the North Carolina tackle and
Yeah.
Evan Neal potentially, because Evan Neal has literally at Alabama has played right guard, right tackle.
What
and
about the Ojobo kid?
Yeah, you can take him too. But I'm like,
Yeah.
if you really wanted to go double up on offensive line, you don't have to take a tackle and then Lindenbaum just because he's a center. You could take a tackle and Neal because Neal can play guard.
Nakobe Dean from Georgia, the linebacker from Georgia. He could come into play, or if you trade back, he could come in. But
Is this the NBA draft? Because last time I checked, there's more than 2 rounds. So
Yeah.
we're always worried about the 2 rounds. We can get picks throughout the entire draft. Up until 4th round picks are the ones that contribute on your team. So I'm not.
But this the thing. Oh, sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to cut you.
I understand we want the cream of the crop, but we have to stop with this. We can't get anybody behind it.
This is true. You
And
can't just draft for need because then you're passing up on the better players.
yeah,
Like you can't just do that. Like everyone's like, oh, let's just draft every single offensive lineman in every round. It's like you can't do that. It's gonna take 2 years to build sometimes it takes 2 years to build an offensive line. It's like you take one, maybe you take another one in the second round, and then it's like just secure the left side of your offensive line, and you can get by another year, and then the following year you build the right side. If you could get a
no,
center in the second round and then say like a left guard, and that you got Thomas, the new left guard in the center, your whole left side is complete for the next 10 years, hopefully. And then the right
and
side,
this
you work on that in either
yeah,
maybe in free agency or next year's draft.
and this is what I'll bring in. This is why I do give credit for. I give credit to Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman for this because we are in a good position where hell, if we're in the second round and there's a player we like in the second round, we could package a third. We could package like the rest of our draft capital and kind of see if we can move into the third round. I mean, not in we can move into the second round and get a player we like, or maybe we're in the first and there's a player falling in the 20s, in the mid 20s. We could package that we have 2/3, a fourth, 2/5. We could package the rest of our draft picks to try to maybe we can move into the first, because remember we did it in 2019. And we didn't give up a first next year. On that next year, Dave Gettleman package picks to move up into the first to draft DeAndre Baker. Now DeAndre Baker was the wrong pick, but the scheme and the kind of the strategy to move in, we could have a similar approach. So
Yeah, and you could also trade down too, because I mean,
yeah,
you could trade down and pick up multiple seconds. Because if you look at the Colts, a lot of their team is built on second round draft picks. You don't just need
If
a bunch of
it's
first rounders to
possible,
build a team.
I mean, what I was gonna say is if it's possible to trade back a few spots with that 7th pick, where you get a couple more picks and whatever. Personally, maybe I might be wrong, but personally, I have my eyes set on Lindenbaum. But
I
I
mean,
I
if you look
understand
at
there's more talented players at skilled positions, but you know where I stand, man. Skilled positions
yeah,
got us nowhere without fixing this old
I'm
line.
not saying don't get Linderbaum. I'm just saying we're only looking at round one right now because we have 2 picks. There's 10 picks in this entire draft.
Right.
We got to know that we've got to develop guys. We got more problems than just the first 2 picks. And what Chris is trying to say is that second round picks are built on other teams so that you can still get quality players in the second round.
yeah,
Right.
in
because
my
there's
thing,
guys that were supposed to go in the first round that fall to the second. So
yeah,
there'll be players
they
there.
stuff
I mean,
all the time.
early second round picks are just as good as first round picks sometimes.
So you're saying
Now, but I get
basically don't go with the first top 2 picks with the O line. Maybe wait till the second, third round for
I'm
those
not
guys.
saying that. I'm just saying it
No,
doesn't have
no,
to
no,
be
no.
forced.
It's an option.
It
no,
just
I'm
doesn't have
saying
to be forced.
What I'm saying is
like
you have a chance to pick up an edge rusher and an offensive lineman. You don't just be like, well, let me get Linderbaum too, because then the quality of edge rushers goes down. I'm not saying you can't
yeah,
get one second. I'm just saying if we're going to have a chance to pick premium players, let's pick one of each and not just say, cluster them together. When you can still have a second round guard, second round center, third round guard come in and play. I know those hit rates go down, but it's not like they don't
yeah.
perform.
And I'm not gonna lie, I get why people want a tackle and Linderbaum because listen, you have 3 pillars of your offensive line set for a decade with Thomas, Linderbaum, and Neal or Akeem Ekwonu at right tackle. You could really put trash at the guard positions between those 2 players, and those 2 guards will play better than expected because they're surrounded. They're in the middle of 2 good elite players. But a lot of people downplay like Kyle Hamilton, the safety for Notre Dame, but I think a lot of people don't really realize how he could be utilized in like a defense. This dude, you could put him on the slot, you could put him in the box, you could put him over the top, you could send him on the blitz, and he does all of it at a good level,
Who's
more
that?
than
I
good
think
level.
Who we talking about?
Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. A lot of people, the offensive line, we have been forced into this franchise has forced us into thinking that we can't fix this offensive line with mid-round picks. It has to be fixed with 2 top 10 picks. That's what this
It's
franchise has
you
forced
know what
us
the,
into thinking.
you know why what the problem is, because you've had 2 GMs that weren't able to do it, so everyone automatically thinks that like a new GM can't. But that's just, you can't think like that. That's like saying, well, this organization hasn't had a franchise, they can't draft quarterbacks, so let's just not draft quarterbacks anymore. It's like, if you're gonna think like that, you're never gonna be good.
Yeah, like obviously,
Right. And a guy like David
obviously,
Deal from the 5th round, and he played for a long time for the Giants. So we have a guy named Shane Lemieux on this team that they were high on. So if Shane Lemieux has any ounce of talent, maybe he comes back. Maybe there you go. You got 2 guys, and they only need to fill 3 spots. I'm just saying, like, you got to go through the roster, comb through it, and before we decide to blow up the draft with the entire thing being O-line, make sure we take the right O-lineman and make sure that we're filling other holes, because there's depth problems on this team, not just O-line problems, depth.
no. But one of those picks needs to be an offensive lineman. One of them. And there's no question about that. One of those, whether it's
I'm not
5,
saying no to that. I'm just
Gotta
saying
go 2 in the top 5, man. If we don't go two linemen in the top 5 picks, we're doing the same thing again. We're neglecting.
No, and
No,
that's not
definitely.
necessarily true, Miz, because would say this: the Giants their pick actually landed perfectly as far as if a team does want to come up for a quarterback. Because other than Washington wouldn't trade with the Giants probably, because the Giants are not going to give a franchise quarterback to Washington. But you got the Panthers right behind you, the Falcons, the Saints, the Steelers. So the Giants could technically trade down, pick up an extra 2nd-round pick, maybe a first next year. So now you trade that pick, you take one of the tackles with the other pick. Now in the first round, the other first-round pick you get for trading down, you could take a linebacker or something else. And in the 2nd round, now you got 2 seconds. You could use another one of those 2nd-round picks on an offensive lineman. So you don't have to force the issue of taking 2 first-round picks on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know.
No, for me, I'll say with the first 5 picks, I would want to take 2 offensive linemen. Right. But here's one thing though. Even if I don't want a quarterback, the whole offseason, the combine, the pro day, I'm saying that if I was a new general manager, I'm saying that I am in love with Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. So I can have teams trade above me, and then you could probably have one of those edges, whether it's Kayvon or Aiden Hutchinson, drop, or even Evan Neal, because it's not really a guarantee that Evan Neal drops to 5 at the Giants.
I think the Jets and the Giants should work together, because I'm a Jets fan, and I bet you Joe Douglas would love to trade down. So if the Giants can get the word out that they're taking a quarterback and they're not really interested, and then we can trade down and one of the better players fall to you, I'm all for it too.
That's what I'm saying. But here's my thing. Y'all are, if an edge falls and y'all at 4, y'all will break our hearts, because I feel like y'all would take the edge.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of talk out there, from Giant fans, that like the Jets would take a corner or safety. I gotta be honest with you guys. It's not happening. It's like, that's not how. Maybe it does, but that's not how Joe Douglas drafts, and that's not what Saleh's defense relies on. Like, Saleh's defense is all basically edge rushers and linebackers. Like, I think we have a better shot taking a linebacker than we do taking a safety at 4 overall. It's like, that's why we got rid of Jamal Adams. That's why we're not paying Marcus May, because we don't believe that a safety is a luxury pick technically to the Jets. They don't need to kind of premium position.
I could see y'all, because Douglas's defense doesn't rely on that, but with a guy like Hamilton, I feel like he could feel, and maybe it's because y'all don't have another safety. But if you had if y'all kept Marcus May, I could see y'all taking Hamilton at 4, because he could fill in that hole for you at linebacker, because he could play in the box extremely well.
The thing with Hamilton is he's pretty special, because he's 215, but he could run like a safety.
Yeah.
He's going to be a weapon. He's going to be a weapon that you can use like a Jabril Peppers, except better, because he can cover the field. Think Xavier McKinney with a little bit more, laying the lumber at the end of the end.
And I another way I can see you guys taking Hamilton is if you feel like if Evan Neal is gone and you don't want to take a team and you wait till 10 to take your offensive line. That's one way I could see y'all taking a Kyle Hamilton. But I don't think y'all taking a
If Hamilton makes it to 10, then I definitely think there's a chance for them to take him at that point. It won't be crazy because you can do a lot of things in that defense with him. But the early pick, no. The early pick, I think they're going to stick with, an edge rusher if they get one, or a lineman, or, a receiver.
That's why I don't see Hutchinson or Thibodeau falling. I don't see him falling to either of our teams, to be honest. And if he does, I know the Jets will definitely take one of them. So
Yeah.
that's why I think we could both just say, stop dreaming of that scenario. It's like, I used to dream of that scenario when we were in the draft with Nick Bosa. Everyone was like, oh, the 49ers love Quentin Williams. I was like, oh, we're going to get Nick Bosa. I don't think it's happening.
I dreamed about a scenario last year that the Giants were going to get Jamar Chase.
Yeah, that definitely was a dream.
And my strategy, my scenario was pretty smart. I'm not going to lie, because I
Well,
based it off of.
you should show some incriminating evidence, and these prospects will fall, like what they did Laramie Tunsil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had a dream that we drafted Parsons, but then the Giants let him go. So
Yeah, we drafted Tony instead. But hey, we wouldn't be in this position right now
the
if we didn't
dream
make
came
that
alive. He was sitting there.
And people forget that, like, the Lions have 2 first-round picks. So even if they want a quarterback, they technically don't have to use the second pick on a quarterback. They can use their other first-rounder to move up, or maybe one of them falls there. Take one. That's why I don't see
a lot of mocks had the Lions picking Malik Willis at 26, which is second first-round pick. That's also another reason why I don't think Malik Willis is going to fall to the second, because you got Sean Payton with the Saints, Pittsburgh, who needs a quarterback, Denver. You got and you got the Lions with 2 first-round picks. And you got Washington, and you got there's another team I'm missing. You got the Vikings. Report came out that the Vikings, they don't. Some people don't believe Kirk Cousins, or it's up in the air with Kirk Cousins. He might not be back. And I'm not gonna lie, Kirk Cousins is like probably one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, but they stuck with him. Look at the money they're paying him.
Yeah,
that's why.
And I think it hurts them. My uncle, he's a Vikings fan, and he was just telling me all this stuff about like Kirk Cousins, and basically how he settles for average when he's playing, and like their Vikings fans are just like over it. Like he wanted to take Justin Fields last year, but he got hurt when we traded back.
I thought Denver should have taken Justin Fields, but they did.
Yeah, Denver definitely should have taken Justin
It's going to be really interesting to see where Watson goes now, because if one of these teams that are picking in the top 15 don't get Watson, it's like these teams are they're all going to be desperate for a quarterback, because if Watson gets traded to, say, not Denver or not Carolina, and then say Russell Wilson does wind up staying on the Seahawks, because there are rumors that the Seahawks aren't trading him, but it's just rumors. And if Aaron Rodgers stays on the Packers, there's not really many quarterbacks out there, so teams are going to just force the issue and draft one.
Yeah, I say if the Giants get Brian Flores, I say the Watson scenario definitely becomes a little bit more real, because he was pushing for Watson in Miami.
Yeah,
and the ownership didn't want that.
I know Watson would want to come to New York too, because he was willing to waive his no trade clause last year to come to the Jets. So now it's like I'm sure he'll want to come to the Giants if that's the case. So it's like I would go get Watson if he was available, because I still think
I could also see
you could build
Pittsburgh.
a team even if you take Watson, and it's not a win now move either. Like, people have to understand, if you get Watson, it's not like Russell Wilson where it's like, okay, we have to win now.
Yeah,
He's only 26 years old. Some of these quarterbacks you draft are 24 years old already. So it's like drafting almost like a rookie quarterback. You're just paying him a little bit more money.
Look, man.
If the Giants ever got Watson, man, they would be coming much faster. Let's just say that.
I would, as an outsider, that's not a Giants fan. If the Giants got Watson, I would be worried because then it's like, oh God, they're gonna win again. So it's like that's how
Look,
I think.
and he's 25, 26.
I think he's gonna be he's got 26. Maybe he might be 20. He might be turning 27 this year or something like that. But that's young.
And no disrespect to him, there's a lot of massage parlors in New York City, so he'd be good.
Yeah, I just don't understand like that whole stuff that came out with him either because he was always known as like a high character
Yeah.
guy. I mean, even the
Extortion.
governor of the
Bottom line.
mayor of Houston was like, "Oh, he loves this guy. Like, he was a
I
stand-up
always
guy.
said
He was
it, even when I didn't want him as the quarterback here. I always said it. He's just being extorted by these fucking women. Man.
yeah,
Even
and it's like,
even in Clemson, you didn't hear nothing about him.
well, think about this. Dabo Sweeney said he was like the next, like Michael Jordan of quarterbacks, and everyone said how great Trevor Lawrence was, this generational quarterback. He didn't say that about Trevor Lawrence. He said that about Deshaun Watson. And I might get hate for this, but I actually think Watson is better than Mahomes. He just didn't have the talent Mahomes had on the team.
Oh yeah, as a quarterback, listen. In that 2017 draft, Deshaun Watson should have been the first quarterback taken off the board.
Yeah, the
Patrick
Jaguars
Mahomes-
made a mistake.
Patrick Mahomes is great, and there's nothing against him, but Patrick Mahomes was raw, and he wound it up in the perfect situation. Sat behind Alex Smith for a year, and he had a perfect offense with Andy Reid, a perfect offensive scheme, perfect weapons around him. So he was fit into a perfect environment. If Patrick Mahomes got drafted, like when there were rumors about Ben McAdoo wanting to trade up, if we traded up for Patrick Mahomes and got him, do I think he would have done the same things that he was doing in Kansas City? Hell no. I mean, you had people come out, or you had it leaked or rumored. I don't want to say if it's true or not, but you basically have reports saying that Patrick Mahomes didn't even know how to read the Mike linebacker in his first 2 years. After he won and it got released after the Super Bowl to make him look even better than he already was. So he was just in the perfect situation. I feel like Deshaun Watson is a better complete quarterback. I mean, this dude, he beat Saban in the most important game in college football. And even the first time, he gave Saban a run for his money. So, I don't know. But I feel like Deshaun Watson was definitely, that's just me. I get it. It was a lot of women, but,
Yeah, but I do agree with Authentic. He had a comment about how Patrick Mahomes is super smart. That's what I heard. I heard Andy Reid said he might be the smartest quarterback he's ever been around. So and that's pretty telling also. So I do give him credit. I think Mahomes is super talented, but he is super smart, and you could watch when he plays and you can see it. And he doesn't get credit for that.
Even when he drops back, he drops back 7-8 steps. He takes a huge drop back. And then in his third year, people started to figure that out, and that's when Mahomes kind of had a down year. And even this year, he was turning the ball over at an extremely high rate in the first couple of weeks. But the Chiefs, they just figured it out, and now they're probably going back to the Super Bowl.
I mean,
Mahomes,
his talent is through the roof. I mean, he reminds you of Brett Favre, the type of gunslinger that he is. I think he's the best quarterback prospect I've seen talent-wise in the last decade. The thing about it is that he's on a winning team and he gets hyped up. That's why whenever we make a comparison, it's always he's not Mahomes. Mahomes got put in a great situation, got put in with one of the smartest minds in football, not to mention Alex Smith, one of the smartest minds in football, apparently. So, I mean, of course he's going to excel. I mean, what I'm worried about is that we sit here, we don't take a quarterback because we don't think he's good enough. What does that mean? And then all of a sudden, 5 years from now, he's beating us in a playoff game, or he's, tearing up the league because we decided he's not good enough from Liberty, or he's not good enough from Pittsburgh. It's go do your due diligence, make sure he fits your criteria, because Malik Willis, I heard, is going in the first to late to early second round, which tells me he's going to go earlier than that. because that's
Yeah.
what Daniel Jones had. So my point is, do your due diligence, take the guy, and put a plan in place that works. If you want to start him out the gate, start him out the gate. If you want to sit him behind somebody, sit him behind somebody. The thing is that Daniel Jones needs competition. Period. That's it. He needs somebody in here. We have nobody behind him besides Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon's leaving. I don't want Clayton Thorsten here, and Brian Lewerke stinks. So my point is that they should think about draft a quarterback, keeping their system with this new coach going forward anyways, because if Daniel Jones gets injured, which it looks like he has, you'll have somebody to be there
Yeah.
to take his position. I mean, even
Yeah.
at Davis Mills, they got him in the third round. You don't think you would want a Davis Mills right now on your team? I mean, he's not a great quarterback, but he's not bad.
Yeah, but you can make an argument that like he had one of the better rookie quarterback seasons out of all the rookies.
I can make that argument, Chris, but for this purpose, I'm just using it as you can get a guy in the third round and kind of develop him as a back.
Well, Adam, also too, it's like everyone's obsessed with like, well, wait for a quarterback for next year, and then we could trade up for a quarterback. But it's like you're willing to trade up multiple first round picks for an unknown quarterback that we don't even know if it's going to be good, but you're not willing to give up draft picks to already get a proven top 5 quarterback in the league. So it's like, I don't know.
Right.
Wouldn't you rather have the proven guy than the other guy?
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I
People
was
forget,
saying.
like Watson almost won with the Texans. People don't realize Bill O'Brien was terrible. Like he was the most conservative coach I've ever seen in my life. And even in the playoffs, they played the Chiefs and they had him on the ropes. And he became so conservative, Bill O'Brien. They actually blew that game against the Chiefs. So like all this, like, oh, Watson's on a winner stuff. Like he took the Texans to the playoffs multiple times.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, like, if we're actually thinking about taking Willis and Deshaun Watson is clean, just give that draft pick to Houston and a couple more package, like another, and pair it up with a package and just get Deshaun Watson. I don't want to take. I really don't want to take that risk.
Honestly,
Yes.
I know I'm going to get heat for this, but if I can just get Watson, because don't forget, draft picks go by draft points value, what they're worth. Not every first-round draft pick is equal to another. You got 2 top 10 picks in the first round, and Miz is going to hate this. They're worth more than the typical first-round pick. Now, Houston would be like, we'll have 3 first-round picks in the top 10. That's pretty impressive. If I can get Watson for just both my first, I'm doing it. You know why? Because if I'm trusting my GM that he could find offensive linemen in the second and third round, because I've seen it before. GMs can do it. This whole nonsense, like you can't get an offensive lineman in the second round, it's whatever. And then I could Band-Aid, like you need a receiver too. I can Band-Aid 1 year and get a veteran receiver. Like, guess what? Watson played with Will Fuller. Will Fuller's always hurt. He ain't going to get a big contract. I could sign that guy probably for the vet minimum for 1 year just to get by 1 year. And then you have next year to build the team around Watson. It's like
There you go,
it's a
Chris.
win now move, but it's also not a win now
I
move.
do it.
Because he's young
Not
enough
mad about
where
it.
he's your franchise quarterback.
You said it perfectly. Next year, because if you get Watson now and you struggle through and you win 5 or 6 games, next year you can keep filling that out because you'll have more cap space to work with. You'll have more opportunities, and you're going to have a high draft pick. So you'll already have your quarterback in place. You've already drafted a couple linemen in this draft, and then you can get a lineman next year as well with your free agency money. So you could already have a team ready to go in 2023.
Right.
Yeah,
And
My
and a
thing-
new
Many
GM.
years to come.
I think we have to take a tackle this year, though. I just think we have to in the first round. That's just me. I could go without taking an interior offensive lineman, like a guard or a center, outside the first round. I was never a fan of doing that, but I just feel like we need to. To me, I just don't want to take that risk.
I don't see why we can't do that. Why we can't, since the Texans have a pick of their own in the first round and we give them number 5, why they wouldn't just take next year's one if we ask,
Oh,
offer to go
They're
that way.
definitely going to do that. They're definitely going to do that. They're going to give a first this year, a first next year, and then probably package it with a high quality player like Bradbury or
But
probably,
see, you
could send
work,
in.
based off that, Ash, that actually works out better too. Because all right, let's say the Giants gave up a first this year, a first in 2023, and a first in 2024. They gave up 3 straight first round picks. Now you could take that first round pick, the other first round pick you have this year, maybe move down a couple of spots, pick up a next year's first, and maybe a second. So now you recoup some of the picks you gave up for Watson.
Smart, yeah.
You take the tackle. There's multiple tackles in this draft you get in the first round. Anyway, everyone thinks there's just like one tackle. There's Evan Neal. There's Charles Cross from Mississippi State. There's that North Carolina kid. There's that guy Penning. People love that guy Penning. No one's talking about him. So now you can take your tackle in the first round again, and you'll still have you're going to have someone else's first next year. So it's not like you could recoup the picks by trading down. So it's like you're getting Watson and you're keeping a first next year. It's just from a different team.
Or hey, how about trading a first this year and then packaging some players, and that could really equal a first. Really, maybe throw in Bradbury and Saquon.
Maybe
To be
not
honest.
even Saquon. 3 first-round picks and Saquon. Everyone's gonna be like, "Well, that's a lot to give up." But it's like, I mean, what's the most important position in football? It's a quarterback, and we know Watson's the
Quarterback
top 5
position.
quarterback in the league.
This is my maybe throw in like a first, a third, and then Saquon and Bradbury. To me, that would be a good trade right there. And a lot of people talking about age with Watson. Like, y'all know that Malik Willis is like 24. Kenny Pickett is 24. All these quarterbacks are 24. They're 24 going into the draft. So I don't get the age argument.
Nah, he's still a young quarterback, man. He's only 26. I mean, like, if y'all can take it in perspective, if anybody know Watson well, I know him because, I'm a diehard fan. The guy's a winner. He's a leader in the locker room. Again, just because you're hearing about these women doesn't take away what he did from the locker room and his leadership, man. I watched this guy battle with the best of the best, throw it down with Patrick Mahomes. He beat Bill Belichick. He come back from 16 points down, beat Josh Allen in a playoff game. Bill O'Brien was the worst GM that we ever had in Houston Texans history. And even on a bad year, Deshaun Watson still threw 33-7 because we had the 29th ranked defense in the NFL. If you look at that 2019 year that we played, we lost 8 close games, and Deshaun Watson kept us in all of them. Go back and look at his rookie year, MVP candidate, rookie year. What happens? We 3-3 playing Indianapolis. He gets hurt at practice. Texans don't win another game. Go back next year. He comes back. We get back to the playoffs. Everybody banged up. We lose to the Colts. Very next year, we play Kansas City. We lose to them because of the coaching. And then go back to this year. Go back to when Bill O'Brien trade away DeAndre Hopkins. He still had a 33-7 type year. 33-7 type year. You add a couple of rushing touchdowns to that. I mean, you have a 29.
He led the league in passing yards.
Huh?
He led the league in passing yards with Brandon Cooks, who was past his prime, and Will Fuller, who wasn't reliable.
And Deshaun Watson made him better. It wasn't Will Fuller, it was Watson.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson made him better.
And Bill O'Brien, like I said,
right now.
was the most conservative head coach I've ever seen when he had a lead. They were when Watson did play in the playoffs, they could have beat the Chiefs that year, but they had a huge lead, and he went into a hole, and they just, I don't know. Bill O'Brien, I used to hate him because he was the most conservative coach, and he never went for the jugular. So I don't know. I actually love Watson, so I would be scared if the Giants got him. I actually kind of would hate it, but I don't know.
I mean, I like Watson as well. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the quarterback position, the Giants have to look at it this year as well. You can't just do it next year.
No, because you don't know where you're going to be picking next year. That's the thing. It's like, all right, what happens if you have the choice right now? It's either you could potentially, you got these early first round picks that might entice the Texans to want to trade. Like, you might have a better chance of getting him because you have 2 top 10 picks. And then you're also picking at 5th overall. And so it's like you have your pick of the quarterbacks. I mean, maybe you don't draft one, but next year you don't know what quarterbacks are going to plummet in college, because Sam Howell was supposed to be the first overall pick this year. And guess what? I don't think he was getting drafted in the first round.
He going late, probably second round, early second round. He flopped. He had flopped.
And it's like, okay, so then it's like if you're picking, all right, let's say you're picking like 10th overall or something. Now it's like no one with the first overall pick, for the most part, is going to trade that pick away if they need a quarterback. So you can forget about Bryce Love if he comes out. And now you have to move up for the second best quarterback in the draft. And guess what? It's going to cost you draft picks. It's going to cost you more than maybe what it cost for Watson, actually, because you're going to have to move up all the way to the second overall pick. It's going to cost you a fortune. So I get the whole waiting for the
Think about the Eli Manning trade and how much the Giants had to give up for that.
Yep.
And for everybody saying that we're the New York Giants, we're not going to look at Watson. We're this historic franchise.
Yeah, they are. They're gonna look at him. They're gonna look at him, Ash. Trust me. I'm one of those guys who used to say that. I backed off of that shit. You either go get a Watson and you become a winner, or you keep giving away free sodas in the month of December. Which one you want to do, bro?
Well, you're also
Mara ain't doing it no more. Trust me, man. Mara was embarrassed on TV the other day. You saw his face.
Yeah. Listen, let me get this off. Let me get this off though. Like I said, the people saying that we're the New York Giants, this is that and the third, and we're this historic organization. We're not gonna do it. Listen, John Mara and this organization has hit rock bottom, and of course I'm saying this because I'm saying trade for Watson if he's clean. Obviously, if he did it, we're not trading for Watson, obviously. But if he's clean, and they said they're going to settle, they're going to finish the case sometime in February or March. I think that's when the case is going to be done.
Yeah,
and he's clean.
Set a deadline already.
Yeah, if he's clean
before free agency.
I don't give a damn about history. I don't give a damn about how we used to win our Super Bowls. I get it. It's history, but we have hit rock bottom, and John Mara and this organization know it's time for change. Time for change.
Giants automatically have the best quarterback in the NFC East if they get Watson. He's better than Hurts. He's better than
you have a top
Dak,
5 quarterback,
and he's better than whoever Washington has.
You have a top 5 quarterback off the bat. Top 5.
A transcendent superstar right out the bat that you know what you're getting out of already. You just basically know what you're getting out of. You know you're getting that leader. You know you're getting that guy who wants to win. You know that you're getting a dominant playmaker. You just really we didn't even have a great offensive line, and he still was good. We didn't even have we had a terrible offensive line. That shows you how good.
Can you say that again, Coach Dante? Can you say that again, please?
The Houston Texans had a terrible offensive line.
Thank you.
We had a terrible offensive line. We didn't have a great offensive line. It was a bad.
The only thing I'm worried about with that is that he hasn't played in a year. That's the only thing.
That's the only thing you can be scared of right now. He hasn't played football yet in a year.
But that's fine. It's not like you have to win next year with him. He's younger.
Yeah, but it's not like he's 38.
Like I said,
26.
It's a win now. It's not just a win now move. It's Russell Wilson would be a win now move because he doesn't have many. He's older. Watson is a future. It's like a win now plus a future. It's like it's the best of both worlds, and it's like everyone's like, and guess what? Like your offensive line might be terrible, but people don't realize like a quarterback also helps the offensive line look better. Look at the Giants played Tampa because I watched the game. And they couldn't even sniff Tom Brady. They couldn't even touch him. Tom Brady comes out of the game. Guess what? Blaine Gabbert comes in. He thinks he processes slower than Brady. Guess what? Giants get 2 sacks on the guy in a quarter. So it's like quarterbacks also affect the offensive line, and people
they make the offensive line look better than advertised, right?
Advertised, yep.
The Buccaneers offensive line. I'm not trying to take anything from Tristan Wirfs, but he has the easiest job out of all the tackles in the NFL. Why do you think Nate Solder was considered the best tackle on the market when we signed him in the 2018 offseason?
He played with Tom Brady. He had played with the best offensive line coach in football at the time, Dante Scarnecchian, and he played in that New England scheme.
Bingo.
Mm-hmm. That's why I always say stay away from New England free agents.
Well, there's also one other thing that you're forgetting is that in the quarterbacks that he played with, he was able to maneuver the defensive end out of the way because he knew the quarterback was going to step up. When he plays for Daniel Jones drops right back into where the defender is going to be. That's why it's so hard for a guy like Daniel Jones, because when he drops back, he doesn't step up. So your
To be
tackle's
fair, look,
in a compromised position.
to be fair, Daniel Jones also. I'm not saying he's great, but I think he can look a lot better with an offensive line. But also, I think if you ran like even Steve Young said it, I heard him speak the other day. If you put Daniel Jones in like a Kyle Shanahan type offense, where he gets the ball out, he gets it into his guys' hands, I think he would look a lot better in that type of offense also.
Yes, more of a West Coast type short passing game offense. Now
I mean, Steven, just because we didn't have a shoulder on our offensive line, that doesn't mean our offensive line wasn't bad. Our offensive line was terrible. It was just Deshaun Watson and his ability to move out of the pocket and scramble out of the pocket. That was just it. He's not a statue. He's a playmaker. This man, I watched this man got kicked in the face, had a cleat in his eye, and still throw a touchdown against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's how good Watson is. So he's just not a statue. He negates that by his playmaking ability, able to get out the pocket. If you're running for your life, and you have to escape up out of the pocket some of those times, that's Deshaun Watson. That don't mean that offensive line was weak because we didn't have Soda. They was good. They was bad too. They were bad too. We were bad on
offensive line was terrible.
People need to go do
they gave up so many punts.
Go watch the Joe Montana documentary, and you'll find out what it means to be pocket presence. Because that guy had pocket presence to make his team better by moving subtly, by running up the field when he needed to. That's what Watson brings. He makes your offensive line better because he doesn't need you to block for 3 seconds. He just needs you to block long enough for him to get around the guy. Okay, so if that's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, heck, if that's 1 second, he'll be able to avoid that guy. The thing is,
thank you. Authentic explained it worse. Authentic explained it better. He just explained it better. We still had a terrible offensive line. The man got hit and beat up so many times because some of those times he held on to the football, trying to become a pocket passer. Sometimes he was holding on the ball, trying to do that. Trying to become a pocket passer. And he was just standing in there, trying to be not just trying to be a runner, trying to be a pocket passer. And sometimes it'd be already too late. The man that young and that mobile, and that's a playmaker like that, still got sacked 49 times and 50 times. That is too much. But he did that because he's not showing you that he's a run first. He's trying to be a pocket passer, and he's done a very good job of that. That's a lot.
What's forgot to be mentioned there is that he threw for 4,800 yards and 33 touchdowns and being sacked 49 times.
Yep.
And there was a reason why the Texans traded 2 first-round picks to get Laremy Tunsil, because their offensive line was terrible. And even when they got Tunsil, he was good. He was really good left tackle, but their offensive line was still bad. That's how bad their offensive line was.
I'll give you one better. Joe Burrow is the most sacked quarterback in the NFL this year. And they're in the playoffs.
That's actually why I think the Raiders are. That's honestly, I think the Raiders are going to win today. Everyone's
I think the Raiders are going to.
I think Max Crosby is going to feast on the Bengals' offensive line.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Chargers and the Bengals, their offensive line. And this is another argument to why you build your offensive line. Yeah, it might look cute during the season, but during the playoffs, you're not gonna, you're gonna have to have that offensive line. Hence why the Chargers. I mean, look at Justin Herbert versus the Raiders. Justin Herbert could barely get the ball off, and he did. He did at an alarming rate. He was getting the ball off. He was getting pressured almost every third, but still getting the ball off. And like I said, Joe Burrow, he's the most sacked quarterback in the league. But he has some of the best. He has the best deep ball. I think he has the best deep ball percentage in the NFL. And it's not like something like Daniel Jones, where last year Daniel Jones had the best deep ball percentage, but he only threw like 6 deep balls. Like he only threw a minimum amount of deep balls. Joe Burrow was doing it at a high rate as well. But yeah, I think the Bengals offensive line is going to get exposed today by the Raiders defensive line. But
I think the Bengals are going to win, man. I really do. I really think the Bengals have a chance to upset the Raiders. Not that it's an upset, but
I don't think the Raiders are going to be able to stop Jamar Chase, because I don't think they have anyone on their team to be able to stop him. But I don't think everyone's like, oh, the Bengals are going to blow out the Raiders and it's a foregone conclusion. I actually think the Raiders are going to put up a good fight. Wouldn't be surprised if they won. Because
I like
Max
the Raiders
Crosby was playing the Chargers last week, and he was giving the Chargers offensive line trouble. So
The Raiders D
Yeah,
line
I don't think
is
the Chargers.
is a matchup problem for the Bengals O line. That's just how I see the game.
I don't think the Chargers line is. I don't think it's completely fixed either. Because even in Coach Dante, you oh he just left, but when they played Houston, their offensive line kind of got exposed a little bit when they played Houston, and Justin Herbert was getting hit, and you saw how Houston took care of them when they played. But
You know what it is? You can't just fix an offensive line in 1 year, and that's the problem. Like the
Yeah.
Chargers they signed a free agent center, one of the top centers, and then they drafted Slater in the first round. So they allocated a draft pick and money to that. I'm sure this year they'll probably take another guard or a tackle this year in the draft. It's like
the
that's
Bengals
right.
will
It's
probably
you
take
can't just
another.
fix a whole thing in 1 year in one draft. Like because then you're just passing up other good players just to get needs, and that's how you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, and the Bengals, I think they're going to take another offensive lineman now. So
I just think there's too much firepower on that offense for the Bengals for the defense to keep up with. You spread them out wide. You get the best matchup, and you let Joe Burrow do what he's done all season. That's throw the ball deep and accurately and get you to the playoffs. Then when you have the lead, turn around and give it to Joe Mixon.
And speaking of offensive line, that's what the Jaguars. They probably won't do it. They're probably going to take the edge rusher, but they should really take an offensive line. They should really take like Evan Neal at first overall too, because Trevor Lawrence needs left tackle, and it's like if Trevor Lawrence, I don't care how good your defense is. If Trevor Lawrence fails, then who cares how good your defense is? That means you're not going anywhere if Trevor Lawrence fails. So they should take Evan Neal first overall too.
they desperately need a left
It's
tackle.
really take Evan Neal, bro. I'm dying for Evan Neal, but if the Jaguars don't take him, there's something wrong with that organization. I swear.
Yeah. I don't get why the Raiders they
You
don't
don't
just
get
stick with their
Evan Neal
coach.
to protect your quarterback. Go ahead, Ash.
No, I'm saying if they can't get Harbaugh, I don't think why the Raiders just don't stick with their coach they have now.
I think Harbaugh's staying at Michigan. He just hired a coach from Notre Dame, and they're like the fact that he hired a coach on his staff. I think he's upset that they made him take a pay cut last year, and he wants more money. I think Harbaugh's going to stay, and I would not be surprised if the Raiders won today if they wind up keeping that head coach. Because I think he should be coach of the year, the guy on the Raiders, for what he had to deal with. They dealt with Gruden getting fired with the emails, Henry Ruggs getting arrested, their other first round draft pick getting arrested, Arnett. It's like I think he deserves to be head coach of the year.
Yeah.
If he wins, he's definitely back next year.
Yeah, if he wins a
Harbaugh's
playoff game,
staying
he's
at
definitely
Michigan.
back. Yeah, Harbaugh's going to stay. And I heard that they were talking to Harbaugh, and he said he sounded like he definitely wanted to stay in Michigan. It's a good place for
they say he's coming to the NFL. He's coming to the NFL. He always stays in Michigan. Plus, he's from Michigan. I mean, like, I just don't see him leaving.
Yeah, but and that's something that like I said, these problems that the Giants go through, they're New York Giants problems that our organization only goes through. The Raiders had to overcome a whole lot of adversity this year, and still didn't really miss a beat like that. Henry Ruggs, John Gruden, Arnett, they lost up to this point. I think they only have two players from that whole draft on their team right now. And you tell me there's we can't fix offensive line issues over 10 years. These problems are Giants problems.
I don't think they're giant problems. Giant. I just think what it is you guys hired the wrong people, and they made the wrong draft. It's all about the draft selections. That's it. You could look at a bad team and go by their drafts and look at their drafts, and that's why you're bad. I mean, just go look at the Jets drafts for their past GMs. That's why I know we're bad. Go look at the Giants drafts on the recent Gettleman now back to back. It's that's why you guys are bad. So it's just getting to hiring the right people and everything.
Yeah.
No. We're going to do this again. No, we're not. No. It's not Gettleman. Stop blaming everything on Gettleman.
Oh, come on, Miz.
Oh, man. I cannot put it all on Gettleman. It's just a scapegoat for everybody. That's all it is, man. This is an organizational issue. It was a problem before Gettleman even got here. Long before.
Yeah.
This started in 13. Let's be honest. This started in 13.
I mean,
Yeah.
the first
I know
domino.
he's been a problem the last 2 years or 3. Yes, he's been definitely contributed to all of it. But I do believe a lot of the things he's done, not a lot, let's say some of the things he's done has been pushed on him by the owner.
And that was the worst. I think it started in 2018, right?
It was
Or
the year. It's
2017.
the year you pushed Coughlin out. That started
Yeah.
it. And then
Yeah.
the following year, when McAdoo wanted to take
Or the next 2 years.
Patrick
That-
Mahomes, but you didn't want to
That
hurt
was
Eli
the
Manning's
downfall
feelings.
right there.
And then that
That
just
was
started.
the
And then
downfall.
the boat picture, and then after that, it was just bad.
The 2017 draft, that was. Listen, I know Eli is a legend in Giants franchise. He's a Hall of Famer, but trying to build around him and stick with him when he was past his prime, and he was really like he didn't really have. I'm not gonna lie. Washed Eli is better than a lot of quarterbacks now, like
What's up,
Baker
Eagle?
Mayfield, better than a lot of quarterbacks. But trying to stick with Eli instead of getting in a quarterback in here from 2017 to 2018, like that was probably the worst decision John Mara has made.
Yeah. And you know what? Everyone, treasures the Barkley pick. It's not even the Barkley pick, though. It's like if you would have taken Barkley, because Denver wanted Sam Darnold that year, and they were willing to trade up to 2, give you draft picks, and then whatever. So it's like, it's not even about taking Barkley. Like, even if you wanted to take Barkley, I think you could have taken him at 5 overall, but you would have got multiple draft picks with Barkley. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's not just, like, it was just taking Barkley at 2 overall. That was the issue.
No, yeah. And I'll say this about Eli. I'll say this about Eli. Oh, go ahead, AK. I'll let you talk.
No, you're good, man. I'm just gonna take a second, bro. I just wanted to stop and say what's up to Miz, and yo, love what you're doing here, man. Keep up the work.
Sensei. Thanks for coming in, man. This guy's a good guy. Go sub up to him. I go in their streams. Even though we rivalry, they treat us like a brother. So
Nothing but respect, bro. You know it. I'm just waking up. I ain't gonna be too long. I had an 8-hour stream till like 5 a.m. today, so you know, I got some family shit I got to take care of. Just want to stop in real quick, show my support, bro. So
no doubt, we're gonna hop off for 5 minutes anyway. Get ready for the first playoff game. Hey, what's up, football, little Benny?
all right, well, you have a good day, my guy. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Be good, man. I'll see you later in one of your streams.
All right, buddy. Thanks.
No, but Ms. Zabuka, let me ask you this. And again, I'm not trying to take a shot at Eli Manning or anything. But let me give you an analogy. If I get an A my first semester in college, I have 4 classes, and let's say these classes are passing yards, passing rate, touchdowns, and let's say completions. If I get an A my first semester in all my classes, and then for the next year and a half, or next couple of years, or next couple of semesters, I get C's. If you was my parent, you're gonna be looking at me crazy, right?
Yeah. I feel like
You're gonna be like, and even if you're struggling, you're gonna be like, why didn't you call out for help? Why didn't you say you were struggling? That's my thing with Eli. Like, it was like after 2011 and everything going down, Eli was just like the organization treated him like a punching bag. And he just
also
like
got wrecked for years with that behind that offensive line. He took a lot of hits. And it's just like he got old. It happens.
He took it though.
Look at the Steelers. Like Big Ben, they didn't prepare for life after Ben, and they need a quarterback now. It's just like teams just have to like prepare for it. I know like everyone's attached to their quarterback, but it's like eventually they're going to get old and retire. So it's like you just got to plan ahead of time before they do retire.
Mm-hmm. My thing was like you just talk like you see Aaron Rodgers. You see like Aaron Rodgers, if he feels like he needs something on the offense, he's going into that ownership room and he's telling them he wants something. Russell Wilson was going into the rooms with the general manager and Pete Carroll and saying, giving him his advice, and they're laughing at him. Eli Manning just took it. Like John Mara and Steve Tisch and the boys, they treated you like their own child. So if you would have went in there and said, hey, I need some help on this offensive line, I would not have.
But the
I
problem
would
is
have a hard time
they did try
believing.
helping the offensive line. It just they did take the right players.
Well, no, I'm talking about in like 2013, 2014, like when Eli Manning still had it. But they didn't supplant, like they didn't address the offensive line until like 2015, 20, and then they didn't do it again until 2018. Right? I'm talking about 2012, 2013, 2014, you know, if Eli Manning felt like he was getting crushed, he should have took his ass into ownership, into Mara, and say, "Yo, get me an offensive line." The same thing like me. If I'm a child in college and I'm struggling in school, my mom's gonna look at me crazy, not just because I'm struggling, but she's gonna look at me. If you were struggling, why didn't you reach out for help? Why didn't you say you needed
Eli
a tutor
Manning,
or something like that?
Eli Manning is not that guy.
That's
Eli
what I'm
Manning
saying.
is not
That's
that
my
guy.
biggest
He's
problem.
not going to walk in.
That's my biggest
Also,
And I
problem.
mean, but
you know what? I also think the problem
with
is
Eli
go
Manning, the
ahead,
problem
Adam,
with
you
the
want to say
organization was they were too loyal to Eli. It had nothing to do with Eli Manning. It was they were too loyal to Eli, and that's what put us back years when they should have drafted a quarterback. Maybe in 2017 and 2018, they didn't because 2017 had the benching with Geno Smith and not Davis Webb, and then the second year they decided to go with Saquon Barkley instead of a quarterback or a lineman. So that's what put us back there. I think the loyalty to Eli is what has set this franchise back a few years, because if we had gotten rid of him or had pushed him out the door earlier, you might have a different outcome. You might have a different coaching staff. You might have everything that is different with Eli Manning. That's the problem I had. His first year, people thought he was a bust, right? Then you built him up, and then the offensive line came to fruition. But after those offensive lines weren't built correctly, it's not like they didn't take stabs at it. Eric Flowers stunk. Weston Richburg got injured, and Justin Pugh had developed, right? So, I mean, those are three guys in 2013, 2015 that were picked. They just didn't work out. So it's not like they didn't try for the offensive line. They actually had the offensive line, but they were too loyal to Eli, thinking that they had one run left in them, and that's why they drafted a running back in Barkley.
But Adam, to be honest, also though, the Giants also had bad luck. They kept Eli and they thought they could build it around him, but maybe they just, let's be fair to them. The quarterbacks that were coming out this year, Baker went one, right? Sam Darnold had a turn. Maybe they just didn't love Sam Darnold. He had a turnover problem in college. He has a turnover problem in the NFL. Josh Allen had the terrible completion percentage in college, so he wasn't a surefire thing. It took him like 3 years to get good in the NFL also. And then you had Lamar Jackson, who people didn't even thought he should be a receiver. So then they actually did plan ahead, the Giants, because the following year they thought, okay, they loved Justin Herbert. They thought he was going to come out that year. Unfortunately, his brother was also in college, and he wanted to stay the extra year to play with him. So that was their planning. They thought they were going to probably get Justin Herbert. And then what happened was he stayed in college. Giants panicked. Dave Gettleman panicked. And he forced the pick in Daniel Jones. And it's like, if he would have waited, instead of forcing the pick and making the media happy and fans happy, they could have waited one more year for the quarterback. And look, you picked fourth overall, right? Justin Herbert went, what do you go, 6 or 7? You could have still got Herbert the following year if had
Chris,
but they forced.
That is true. That is all true what you're saying. But you can't, like, what I'm saying is if you go in there and Pat Shurmur loves Darnold, then you pick Darnold and you run with it and you go from there. I mean, some of these quarterbacks fail because of the situations that they're drafted to. So we never know how good certain players are because they'll go to a team that's probably not built for their skill set. But my last point is this: you look at a guy coming from the second round in Derek Carr. He's in the playoffs. So don't think you can't get a guy in the second round and be your quarterback. So just Giant fans, think about that. We need quarterbacks, and it's playoff time, baby. Let's go Bengals.
Yo, what's up, Hub?
Yeah, guys. You better get in your final moments here.
There's a story developing about Deshaun Watson right now, right?
Yeah, that he wants to play in New York, which I believe is true because he was willing to waive his no trade clause for the Jets. So I believe.
What do you mean he wants to play in New York, Buko? Nobody wants to play for the Giants. Why would anybody want to be in New York?
People don't realize that. I hate when no one wants to come here, no one wants to hear this. People don't realize there's only 32 GM jobs, 32 head coaching jobs. People will come. You just have to pay them and give them more years, and that's all it takes. You can't just give them 6-year deals, and they'll come. It's like this nonsense. Oh, no one's going to come here. It's like, stop. There's only 32 jobs in the NFL. If they don't grow on trees, people come. So the rumor is like Watson is willing to come to New York, which I believe because he was, like I said, he was willing to waive his no trade clause to come to the Jets. So why wouldn't he do it with the Giants? His agent is actually based in New York. He's always in New York, Watson. And then he also would prefer like Brian Flores to be. He wants to go somewhere with Brian Flores. So it's like if you can get Flores and Watson together, I'm all for it. Plus, don't forget Watson has a no trade clause, so it's like the Texans can't just take the best offer for him. They're going to get a lot for him, but he's
Is this
not
guy
just going to go
legit?
to any. He's just not going to go to any team.
Is this guy legit who released this statement?
I mean, I believe that tweet is pretty true, but just for the fact that I know for a fact that Watson wanted to come to New York last year, but the Jets, the whole legal stuff came up, and the Jets weren't going to trade picks away. They were going to draft a young quarterback. So I don't see why he wouldn't want to come to the Giants. It's the same. It's the same situation. He'll be in New York. So
I don't know about Watson, but I do believe that Flores completed his interviews with the Bears and Texans, and there was a statement that he's going to wait for the new GM in order to at least meet with the Giants before he makes a decision. I believe that.
yeah, I believe that.
That would
From
be in
New
his
York,
best
I don't see
interest.
why he wouldn't want to come.
Right. Hometown.
I mean, don't forget, Flores is also a Parcells guy too. They know each other. I mean, Parcells just literally backed Flores last week, saying he thought he did a great job and everything. So,
and I'm not saying he's involved heavily, but I've now for the second time yesterday on WFAN heard that Parcells is somewhere way in the background, at least talking to Mara. So, not that he's coming in, but he might be, if Mara told him to get these guys together, Parcells could definitely pull a string or two.
what you really want is this to happen, because I know you guys want Joe Shane to be the GM, and everyone already assumes that Brian Dable's going to be the head coach. But there's rumors that Miami really wants Dable also, and that he's actually coached. Dable was the offensive coordinator in Alabama. He had Tua. So you want Dable to go to Miami, and you still get your GM you guys want, Joe Shane, and hopefully he brings in Flores. That's what you really want.
Yeah. But
I don't know how I
I'm
feel
about to
about
hop off,
Dable, to
man.
be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Dable kind of interesting. I can
He
see
doesn't
him
run the
being
ball.
either a really. I can see him either being a really great offensive mind or like just failing. But yeah, they said that Brian Flores and Deshaun Watson have been in talks, constant communication, and trying to navigate a team to where they can both go. And they said Deshaun spends most or part of his time in New York City and has a business there and
Yep.
developed some friendships there. So
His agent
he has an interest in New York.
And plus,
Yeah, so
also, the Texans are in the AFC. Do you think they're going to realistically want to trade Watson to an AFC team? They rather trade him to an NFC.
no. Yeah, if he goes to New York, if Flores and Watson go to New York, the Giants could be a problem. Because you have that built for really years, because the quarterback and the head coach, they have a good relationship and they're going to help each other out. So that could be something that I feel like the Giants need to seriously look into. So
Yeah, if you get Watson and Flores, Giants will be in the playoffs by 2023. May take
And
a
then-
year
and then-
to
and
get
the
everything
fact-
ready, but by
Yeah.
2023, I think they'll be ready to go.
And then in the fact of that is that the Giants, Watson, like, if he knew, here's my thing. If he did it, then he wouldn't be in talks with coaches or like Flores about going to a team. That's my thing.
I bet he regrets when he could have just settled this all for like $100,000 back in the day and then all of it just shitstormed on him. I don't believe that he did it, to be honest, because like I said, everything that everyone talked about Watson was he had outstanding character, even at Clemson, even in Houston. Like the mayor of Houston like loves him. Like he actually came out and like says how much he loved him. So it's like I don't know. It's just weird. It all this came out when the when he asked to be traded. Like a week, 2 weeks later, all this stuff came out. So
It's all nonsense.
Well,
It's a
all
fix
right,
job,
Miz.
man. Sorry to say, but yeah, definitely get ready for the game. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for chatting it up. Appreciate it. I'm gonna do something this coming week, like I always do, once a week. The bottom line with Miz, I'll try to bring on some type of a guest. Lucky to have Lauren last week. We'll see who I can find this week, but no
all right.
promises. Enjoy the games. We'll talk this week. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Some jobs don't come with sick pay. They come with 16-hour shifts from Sunday to
Throw on 2 predictions real quick. We got Cincinnati, Raiders at Cincinnati right now. I think it's going to be a tough game. The Raiders D-line over Cincinnati's O-line. The Bengals are the stronger team, but the Raiders give them a matchup problem. 27-26 Raiders. Tonight, the Patriots go into the frozen Buffalo. Game time temperature 1, -17 feel like, some light snow. We got a rookie quarterback in Mac Jones. The Buffalo Bills are ready. All right, and for this moment, you know where I'm going. My lock of the day. Sorry to the New England fans, but the Buffalo Bills will win tonight's football game. They've been waiting 2 years for this moment. Give me the Buffalo Bills. 23-17. Those are the games today. I love the Cowboys tomorrow in a tight one. And I think the over 50.5 on Monday night. Take the Rams and the over. Give me the Rams 30-27. Those are the games for this week. Those are the ones I'm taking. And I give you a bonus pick. The Steelers will give a tough game, but they really don't match up at Kansas City. Ben Roethlisberger walks off into the sunset. The Kansas City Chiefs win that game 30-20. Enjoy the games, guys. The Miz is out. Man.